These coastal wetlands might not look like much, but they are salt marshes, and they are the unsung heroes in the fight against climate change. A new report from the Worldwide Fund for Nature has called for better protection and restoration of the UK's marshes, which are very efficient at storing carbon dioxide in the mud. Our science correspondent, Victoria Gill, has been finding out more.
Regularly flooded by the tide, salt marshes are wildlife havens. But they're also silently helping in the fight against climate change.
So I think when we get a bit closer, I can actually explain what the different parts are.
Yeah. That's why a scientific experiment has been perched out on this salt marsh for more than a year, analysing the air around this expanse of tidal marshland.
So this is a trace gas analyzer. So this will be measuring all of those little components in the air. Specifically, the carbon dioxide is what we're after and how that's flowing around the salt marsh.
These are buffer zones between the land and the sea that provide a natural flood defence. And measuring the gases in the atmosphere here has revealed details about how the salt marsh absorbs one of the greenhouse gases that's warming up our planet.
What is the salt marsh doing that is sort of actively helping us keep the planet cooler?
So you can see all of these plants growing very quickly and densely around us. They grow so efficiently that they almost grow on top of each other and keep layering and decomposing in the salt marsh beneath us. And that captures carbon in the soils. So we're typically taught about how trees breathe in carbon and store that in the wood. And here salt marshes are just doing that as mud. And beneath us, right where we're standing, there'll be hundreds of years of carbon stored.
In winter, as plants die back, some of that carbon is released. But this year-long study has shown that a healthy carpet of marshland plants breathes in more carbon dioxide in the summer than it breathes out in the winter.
As the tide comes in and brings in more sediment, it builds up those layers and compresses them, and it piles up and it locks away that carbon-laden mud for centuries.
The conservationists are calling for salt marshes to be added to the official UK inventory of how much carbon is emitted and how much is removed from our atmosphere every year. This formal recognition of salt marshes' value in fighting climate change could provide more of an incentive to restore and protect these sites for people and for wildlife.
It's like a service station for birds. It's so important in the winter as well. Those mud flats and the kind of tides. We get over 250,000 birds that spend the winter here.
Yeah, just in that mud, in that water, sifting and digging.
Yeah. So waders, wildfowl as well, curlew, oyster catchers in the hundreds, thousands, probing in that mud, loving it.
The UK has lost about 85% of its salt marshes over the last 2 centuries. But the restoration of these spongy, muddy expanses, scientists say, could rebuild a valuable natural habitat that helps protect us too. Victoria Gill, BBC News.